Here is our next elegant personality, that is Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He was an English poet, literary critic, and philosopher. He was the leader of Romantic poetry. He used opium for inspiration. During the 18th century, the cataphrase of literature and art was risen. But the 19th century was heralded by major shift in the conception and emphasis of literary art and specifically poetry. The subject matter of his writings. The most important characteristics of his literary text, he used supernatural elements, visionary elements in his poems. Supernatural elements, extraordinary and mysterious, that can be found in human nature. Nature is not the only subject matter. He also talks about psychology of character. And what about his language? What about the language he used in his writings? It was sophisticated, elaborated, and ornamented. The best part of human language is derived from reflection on the acts of the mind itself. It is formed by a voluntary appropriate on of fixed symbols to internal acts, to processes and results of imagination, the greater part of which no place in the consciousness of uneducated man. The language of poetry undoubtedly comes from imagination. The language of poetry undoubtedly comes from imagination. The way poet perceives the world and translates it for everyone. What is the purpose of his poetry? The purpose of poetry is to give pleasure, and this pleasure is from whole part and from each component part. If you read a novel, you take pleasure from the whole part. If you read a poem, you take pleasure from each part. Okay. ഒരു പോയട്രിന്റെ അൾട്ടിമേറ്റ് പർപ്പസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു എയിം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ദി പ്ലഷർ ഓഫ് ദി റീഡർ. ഇറ്റ് മേ ബി ഫ്രം ദി ഹോൾ പാർട്ട് ഓർ ഇറ്റ് മേ ബി ഫ്രം ദി കമ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ് പാർട്ട്. വെൻ വി റീഡ് എ നോവൽ, we take pleasure from the whole part, and when we read a poem, it's made from each part of the poem. Okay. Poetry. Coleridge sees the poetry as a source of knowledge. The poem must be a cohesive unit with very part working together to build into a whole. Philosophy was so important because it was the sum of all knowledge. Philosophy is the sum of all knowledge. Poet. No man was ever yet a great poet without at the same time being a profound philosopher. He valued scientific thinking as a branch of philosophy. According to him, if a person is a poet, he should also be a philosopher, otherwise he is not poet. Okay, according to him, a poet should be also a philosopher. Only a philosopher can write a good poem. The poet must be an educated person who possesses poetic genius. When we compare Coleridge and Wordsworth, Coleridge's objection to Wordsworth's use of term real language of man. According to Wordsworth, language really used by common man and the concern of poetry should be simple, rustic and common life. But for Coleridge, such a generalization cannot exist, for men are individual by nature. He thought that lowering diction and content simply made it so that the poet had a smaller vocabulary of both words and concepts to draw from. Coleridge also combines his theoretical ideas in his poetry. He abandons Wordsworth's notion of poetry for the common man and uses lofty language, poetic diction and subject matter, while he still holds a reverence for nature inherent to romantic literature. His poems are not exclusively based around the natural. Okay. When we compare Wordsworth and Coleridge, Just make a list. Subject matter: Wordsworth, rustic, humble and common life, childhood manners, beautiful forms of nature. And then here Coleridge, supernatural, extraordinary and mysterious elements that can be found in human nature. Nature is not only subject matter, he also talks about psychology of character. വേർഡ്സ്വർത്ത് നേച്ചറിന് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് കൊടുക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നേച്ചർ മാത്രമല്ല സൈക്കോളജി ഓഫ് ക്യാരക്ടർ കൂടി കോളറിഡ്ജ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ സബ്ജക്ട് മാറ്റർ ആയിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നുണ്ട്. ദെൻ ലാംഗ്വേജ്. ഹിയർ വേർഡ്സ്വർത്ത് language really used common man. He used language and subjects of the common man to convey his ideas. He was against to Augustan age, decorum and overflow style. He is an anti-neoclassical writer. Then Coleridge, he used metrical arrangement in language, sophisticated and ornamented and elevated language, and he belongs to neoclassical. Then purpose of poetry. For Wordsworth, duty of poetry is to spread humanitarian values and attitudes, and for Coleridge, it is to give pleasure, and this pleasure is from all parts and from each part. When definition of poetry, Wordsworth, poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility, and for Coleridge, a poem is a composition which is opposed to works of science by its object. Biographia Literaria is one of the significant theoretical work of Coleridge. Biographia Literaria is concerned with the form of poetry, the genius of the poet, and the relationship to philosophy. Coleridge focused mainly on imagination as the key to poetry. He divided into two main components, primary and secondary imagination. His most contribution to literary theory, literature and criticism is his poetic imagination. For him, imagination was responsible for acts that were truly creative and inventive, and the imagination on the other hand was vital and transformative. Imagination described the mysterious power which extracted from such data hidden ideas and meaning. Coleridge divided imagination into two parts. Okay, his poetic imagination was divided into primary imagination and secondary imagination. What is primary imagination? It acts dependently on human will. It represents the basic agency of human awareness. Primary imagination is something that is there is every human being because it is living power of human perception. It is the common faculty of every human being. It enables us to separate, divide and order in order to make conception possible and to understand the unity of objects. The primary imagination is a spontaneous creation of new ideas and they are expressed perfectly. Primary imagination was for Coleridge the necessary imagination. The necessary imagination, as it automatically balances and fuses the innate capacities and powers of the mind with the external presence of the objective world that the one receives through the senses. Primary imagination is the consciousness shared by all men, while the secondary imagination is limited to poets. Secondary imagination, it acts independently of human will. It represents the conscious use of human power, the creative gift possessed by the poet. The secondary imagination was the creative gift possessed by the poet. Primary imagination എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഉള്ളതും secondary imagination എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it is possessed by the poets. Secondary imagination is rather symbolic. It produces a form its own. It helps understanding the unity of universal like good, divinity, truth and moral. It represents a superior occulty which could only be associated with artistic genius. It is more active and conscious in its working. Secondary imagination selects and orders the raw materials and reshapes and remodels it into objects of beauty. It is mitigated by the conscious act of imagination, therefore, it is hindered by not only imperfect creation but also by imperfect expression. Fancy. Coleridge distinguishes secondary imagination with fancy. Coleridge introduces his concept of fancy. Fancy is the lowest form of imagination because it has no other counters to play with but fixalities and definities. Fancy is mechanical and imitative. It constructs image out of the combination conceptions and memories. Fancy in Coleridge's eyes was employed for tasks that were passive and mechanical, the accumulation of the fact and documentation of what is seen. For Coleridge, fancy is the attribute of poetic genius, but imagination is its soul. Fancy is equated with the mechanical mixture and imagination is equated with a chemical compound. Fancy is a limited or false parallel of secondary imagination. The parallel between the creativity of the poet and that of the cosmos makes us think of shelling. But in Coleridge's account, there is no consciousness on deliberation of the cosmic creativity, so that the word God is perhaps more appropriate here. Coleridge also adds fancy in his description of the imagination. According to his philosophy, fancy is the event lower than the secondary imagination which is already on the earthly realm. Fancy is the source of our baser desires. It is not a creative faculty but a repository for lust. Coleridge writes that poetic imagination dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate. It struggles to idealize and to unify. It is essentially vital, even as all objects are essentially fixed and dead. ഇതൊക്കെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ റൈറ്റിംഗ്സിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ആണ് പറയുന്നത്. Then this is all about Coleridge and he is one of the important leader of Romantic poetry.